Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about today, including huge developer responses over on Twitter that really shapes the future of Season of Discovery PvP forever, some issues for casters heading into the next phase, brand new raid log details, community comments, and so much more. My name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. This is your Season of Discovery news. Sit down, grab a cup of coffee. We got a lot to discuss. Now, I know a lot of you out there are really loving having your holiday Grinch with you for your raids to not only clear BFD a lot easier, but also to cheese those meters and make sure you parse as high as possible. Well, it seems like that parsing portion is getting some changes. That's right, because Warcraft Logs is officially removing the holiday Grinch, the spike collar, and the dog whistle from all of the parses as soon as possible. Now, this is something that Season of Discovery players were taking advantage of to increase their damage drastically inside of the raid so they could parse as high as possible. And it was really skewing the raid logs, which the public did not seem to like, including myself. Warcraft Logs actually took notice of this, and the decision to remove all three of these items from the logs on the site came after a user poll where it was overwhelmingly a majority vote for pet items to be removed. Here's the official Twitter post making the announcement, with them stating, following a poll, we have banned the use of Grinch, Spike Collar, and Dog Whistle for SOD parses. We are currently recrawling, and this means any log with the above will be invalidated. And just to clarify, this goes for anyone's log where the pet items were used on a poll, including guildies or other people, not even including yourself. Not only that, it also includes the logs that were already there, and they're currently recrawling and reprocessing all the old logs to invalidate, which may take some time. So ladies and gentlemen, if parsing is a big deal to you and you used any sort of pet to get a leg up, or even your guildies, take a night to those parses. It looks like we're going to have to redo them again. Not only that, it also seems like every time I feel calm and collected about the botting problem in Season of Discovery, I see yet another crazy video on Reddit or the World of Warcraft forums, and this one, though, is by far the most alarming. This was right after the server reset on Tuesday morning earlier this week, and right now what you are seeing is what could easily be hundreds of bots logging in after the reset, walking along the exact same botted path, and then bug into a tree to then hack to get inside of the world to farm. By doing this, they potentially gather nodes or chests without even being targeted. It's funny because this is currently happening inside of Silverpine Forest, where we also saw Zaryu witnessing the same thing, where rogues were fly hacking inside of Shadowfang Keep to do God knows what inside of there as well. Everyone knows that all of these bots lead to gold farming and the economy being incredibly unstable within the marketplace of each server you're on. Either way though, Blizzard absolutely has to do something about this. This is just crazy. Whether it be adding manpower to have employees actively searching for bots to ban, or even taking drastic measures such as what this user mentioned over on the forum, suggesting that there should be a phase 2 attunement to stop bots or even slow them down before they can move on and reach higher levels. Maybe completing a certain amount of bosses inside of BFD, or perhaps an attunement quest similar to old raid attunements in the past. Other people even mentioning a puzzle to solve, or simply just having a requirement to have at the bare minimum 6 runes unlocked, because most of these bots only have about 2 or 3 available. I would say it's important to know that the worst thing to do in a situation where something is going bad is actually nothing at all. Do you all have any ideas or actions that Blizzard can take on to handle the botting issue? If you do, I mean, leave it in the comment section below, because I'm sure they're watching these videos trying to get an idea on what you all want. Moving on now to the very, very big headline of today. Everybody knows that World of Warcraft PvP is a very big deal, and now everyone may be enjoying PvP differently though. Whether it be killing level 10 gnomes in Goldshire, having massive battles in open world near South Shore and Taran Mill, or simply just queuing up for a casual Warsong Gulch. Well, that is until you queue up alone inside of a Warsong Gulch and get absolutely stomped by a full pre-made within a few minutes of the match being started. With Season of Discovery being about change, freedom, and giving the players the ability to do whatever they want when they want, players took to the forums and were demanding that there be some sort of change to the Battlegrounds system queue. Many of them suggesting the idea of implementing a solo queue where you queue up against a team of players as individuals and not a group, and we have gotten a ton of news about this on Twitter as of yesterday, so buckle in and pay attention. We got a lot to go through. It started off as a casual question from a fellow player stating, wanted to ask if there was any plan to address Battleground pre-made versus pickup groups. I know it was never changed in Classic, but I'm just curious. Agrin, the lead Classic developer, came back with a ton of responses, starting with, this is a tricky problem with no easy answers. Do you make 2 separate queues? You may scream yes, and maybe it's fine when we only have Warsong Gulch, but what about when we have all the other Battlegrounds plus 2 queues each? Some of those queues may literally never pop. He continues with this saying, is it okay for us to potentially damage or kill pre-made PvP to make it easier to solo? Will it actually be that much better? I'm concerned that pre-mades are the boogeyman here more than the actual problem. The reality is, and will remain, that some activities in World of Warcraft are just better in a group. Not to say we won't make adjustments, because we are actively talking about this internally, basically daily, but it's not a simple problem, and it doesn't have a simple solution. We just have to be careful because any change we make will be hard or even impossible to reverse. In the meantime, I'd encourage anyone struggling to branch out a bit. Pre-made spin up constantly, and there are Discord set up for this very thing on almost every realm. It may not be what you want to hear, and that's fair, but it is a viable option. You may find you have a lot more fun in a group and maybe make some new friends along the way. Okay, now after all that, obviously, there's a lot to unpack here. I would say firstly, I am personally disappointed that there isn't any sort of solo queue coming in the near future for Season of Discovery, and I know there are a lot of you out there in the comment section and also in the community that have been begging for something like this for a long time, and it's going to hurt to not see this come to the game. However, though, there is an upside here. Not only is the lead developer for Season of Discovery taking notice of our wants and asks, whether it be on the forums or YouTube videos, he also stated very clearly that they are actively talking about this internally daily, and if they're going to make a change, they're going to take time to make sure it's something the community really wants, because the decision they make is going to be final. Now, I know they have a lot on their plate with Phase 2 coming in just a few weeks, but it feels really bad that nobody can casually queue up for a freaking Battleground solo without getting your grass absolutely mowed by a pre-made. Some people even responded over on Twitter stating that it should surely be 2 different queues, stating how joining a pre-made has nothing to do with PvP because when you're in a pre-made, you're looking to play versus a pug for some quick honor farming. If it was a separate queue system and if it was really about having great 10v10 matches, they could still do that with pre-made versus pre-made queues. It feels like it has nothing to do with PvP and feels more like people just wanting to farm honor very easily, stomping pugs. Other players even coming up with the alternative of, what about disabling the option to queue as a raid and maybe limiting it to 5 people? Which seems, by the way, like a great idea. Agrin even responded to this over on Twitter as well, stating, again though, if your preferred gameplay style is 10-player pre-mades, then didn't we just kill your gameplay? Is that okay? Like, is it really okay? I think one thing is for sure, ladies and gentlemen, and it's important to take away something positive from a discussion though. If Blizzard did not want to do anything about this, they wouldn't be responding to any of this. And they most certainly wouldn't be taking it public on Twitter or on the forums. The future of Season of Discovery is really up in the air, and the truth is that it's up to us to respond with what we want. He's quite literally asking us if it's okay if we change the 10-player pre-made queue-up style. So if you're here right now watching this video, I'm leaving a link in the description below to this Twitter thread, so you can go ahead and explain what you all want to see for pre-made Battlegrounds heading into the future phases. We may not have changes right now coming in the short term, but this is something that can get changed easily within the next couple of months if we voice our opinion about it. One thing about this Classic team that I know is that they are on point when it comes to listening to the community and all of our wants and desires. So, I mean, personally, I think queuing up as a maximum of 5 players is a great middle ground to meet between both playstyles. So I know there are some of you out there who agree with the developers on this one and think pre-made should stay as 10-mans and there shouldn't be solo queues. But I also know for a fact that there are other people like me who either want solo queue to be implemented or for them to at least change the queuing system to a maximum of 5 players. So you have to tell me, ladies and gentlemen, which type of player are you? Let us know in the comment section below or head on over to that Twitter thread in the description and voice your opinion there. Lastly, when it comes to the official dev news over on Twitter, it seems that Season of Discovery is confirmed not going to be getting any rated Battlegrounds either, because having rated inside of vanilla changes the expectations around balance, and we'd rather spend our development time on new content and activities rather than chasing perfect balance for PvP. Let us know what you think about that as well. Speaking of other future problems Season of Discovery might be facing is that, once again, casters heading into the next phase might come into problems. A user over on Reddit made some really solid points, stating that the viability of your class spec when it comes to you being a caster mostly relies on your spell rank being the highest level it could be right before the bracket cutoff. For example, in Phase 1, abilities like Frostbolt have a 67% damage increase when you hit level 26 and get the next rank. Same thing for Shadowbolt at 63% damage, Shadow Ward Pain at 75% damage, and Mind Flay at 68% damage increase. All of which are just a few levels away from 25. I mean, 2 of those spells that we just named are critical for Shadow Priest and could very well be a big reason why they're near the bottom of the damage meters. Heading into Phase 2, it may not be as heavily pronounced, but it looks like we're going to be seeing the exact same problem. I mean, Fireball rank 8 comes at level 42, Starfire at level 42, Shadow Ward Pain at level 42, Flash of Light at level 42. I mean, a lot of these specs are going to be falling behind simply because the spell rank system is locked at certain levels and was never meant to be balanced with how Season of Discovery's phase system is being laid out. The suggestion made by this Reddit user was that they introduce spell rank books from the new raids coming out, which will be No Morgan, that teach the higher level version of the spell, just like they did inside of Encourage with Shadowbolt rank 10, Multi-Shot, Deadly Poison, etc. That way it could be a bit of a more organic way of balancing casters out, and because it's an item from the new raid, it wouldn't affect Classic Era in any way. I think right now the biggest problem with Phase 1 when it comes to raiding is that it's very simply the fact that physical damage dealers outshine casters by a landslide, and it isn't even close. I mean, the top half of the best damage dealers are all physical, and the bottom half mostly use magic to deal their damage. I'm not sure what the best case scenario is for solving this particular problem, but I know for a fact that one of the biggest issues right now is that casters don't have access to their entire talent tree, and they're in a weird place with their spells being learned just a level or 2 away. So if you can at least solve both of these problems, I think it's a huge step in the right direction to making casters viable and way more fun inside of a raiding environment. Another Reddit post even introduced some crazy rune additions for casters that completely change your gameplay style from a ranged caster form of DPS actually to a melee fighter. For example, for Warlocks, you have Gore Fiend's Legacy, where you could use two-handed axes and swords, and your melee attacks deal additional shadow damage, and some of your abilities are also altered as well, like Searing Pain is now instant and has a 3-second cooldown, your Shadow Bolt becomes Shadow Cleave and hits up to 3 nearby targets, and even your Immolate now becomes instant and has a 6-second cooldown. He then goes on to do the same thing for Priest and Mage, and if you want to check it out, you can see it on screen here if you want to take a deeper look, but I think this is an insane change of pace when it comes to these classes, and it could definitely be something worth even checking out when it comes to developers. I mean, what do you guys think about something like this in Season of Discovery? You think it's something cool? You think it could be really neat? Or do you think it's something that's veering way too far from the classic feel? You guys gotta let me know in the comment section below. Speaking of hearing from you all, our previous news video, once again, is breaking records on likes and comments, reaching over 2,500 likes and almost 1,500 comments, which is absolutely insane. Once again, just want to take a quick second to say thank you all so much for supporting us and influencing the algorithm to push us to be the best Season of Discovery content creators we could possibly be. So thank you. We absolutely could not do it without you all. So once again, thank you so much. Starting off with our first comment being from Robert P, stating, if anyone is complaining about the speed at which other players are leveling, they need to realize the game isn't just for one type of player. It's from many different types of people. I'm having a great time leveling other characters and trying out their runes. We even had another comment that was very similar by Matthew White, stating, this game is in such a good place, and it kills me that people complain because they don't know how to decompress and have fun while gaming. Instead, they treat it like another grind. That being said, more cap level quests would be sick in the next phase. I gotta agree, ladies and gentlemen, Season of Discovery is such a refreshing change of pace, even from someone like myself, where I'm allowed to play really as much as I want every single day because I do this for a living. But normally when a game is launched, so many players, as well as myself and all the dads out there, feel the need to rush and play as much as they can because they don't want to feel like they're missing out and falling behind. But right now, with Season of Discovery, I can quite literally just take my time and enjoy the ride as much as I possibly want, man, and it feels really good, and it's such a big stress relief that I don't have to feel forced to log in for 8 to 10 hours, because if I don't, all the best people out there will get way too far ahead of me. I mean, the best part about it too is that all the sweaty tryhards are stuck with all of us and they can't even get too much far ahead for that long. So, I mean, could you imagine if Season of Discovery launched and you could get to level 60 immediately? I mean, everyone would be level 60 in just a few days and clearing all the content while I'm sitting here at like level 30. I mean, I don't know. It's such an amazing change of pace that we're all on the same level playing field, and there's no pressure to do anything too drastic. Everything is easygoing and fun. It's all about the adventure, which I really, really love. We even had a great comment from Digital Hills stating, I think the next phase will be super fun for way longer due to more of the world being open. We got mounts, more dungeons, toolkits, etc. It's also a fantastic point. I mean, we're going to have so many more things to grind, multiple open world events, double the dungeons that we previously had than phase 1, a brand new raid, more specs to try out, and even more runes. I mean, it's going to be so much more entertaining, exciting to try out everything at level 40, and man, I am so excited to dive into it in just a couple of weeks. Hopefully they add that dual spec. But anyways, next up we have an insane idea coming from It's Sumi with, what if BFD turned into a level 40 dungeon to keep it in the rotation alongside Nomergan? Maybe even introduce some affixes to the bosses like Trial of the Crusaders Incinerate Flesh being added to Kelris, or Quaking Effect to Akumai. Update the gear score accordingly as well, and this way we keep areas of the world that become irrelevant relevant still. I mean, dude, could you imagine almost like a hard mode of BFD where they amp up the bosses to like maximum difficulty and add a bunch of affixes? I mean, dude, I think that'd be an awesome idea for them to at least look into something like that, because I don't know, I feel like it'd be really cool to at least just check out or have some super, super hard raid or dungeon to go try out in the end game. And for our last comment of the day, we have the I Forgot Others stating 10-man raids are totally needed, but I agree that 40-man raids are more epic. Sadly, they require a lot more planning though. I don't really like scheduling my fun like that. I want to be able to log in anytime and find a 10-man group and do the content, which is pretty much only possible with 10-man raids. And I gotta just say really quick, that 40-man raids versus 10-man raid argument, it's so conflicting, because yes, getting 40 people together to go defeat a behemoth of a boss is something that is so freaking epic that you will never get outside of an MMORPG. But good lord, does it require a ton of planning. I mean, getting 40 people together on a set time on one day during the week, it's just not easy to do, man. It is exhausting. I mean, right now, I'm struggling to get 10 people for my main raid and my alt raid. I mean, I couldn't even imagine doing 40 people, all of us together, to try to get together. I don't know. I know there's pros and cons to both of them, and I would be happy for either or, but let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, leave a comment below for me to respond to it live here on these new videos, to have a little bit of a discussion point and talk about it. I love hearing all your opinions on some of the topics in these videos, so if you want your voice to be heard, please let me know about it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. We got like 95% of you guys not even subscribed. Do us right, man. Hit that sub button. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. It really is an absolute pleasure to be making content for you all. Until the very end, my name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.